Hi guys. In this video, we're going to look at modifying the shape of our balloon-powered racer. Just before we start, though, let's just have a look at saving our work. So we click on File, Save As. Now here, my work is saving in a different folder. So I'm going to click this drop-down arrow, and I'm going to create a new project. We can just call this Balloon Racer. I already have that file. I'm sure I've got lots of them. So we can just click on one of these files. Otherwise, you can press new project. So you can type in a name for that project. Up at the top, you can give it a name, version 1, and then you can save it inside the correct folder. Now, you just need to double check that the location name there matches where you want it to go, and that the name is something recognizable. Once you've done that, press save. Now, I'm happy with that, so what we're going to do is look at modifying this. We've currently got a block with a hole passing through it, so we can attach the balloon. Now, we've got nowhere to attach the wheels, and it's an ugly shape. It's not very aerodynamic. In Fusion, we always start by creating a sketch, which is either clicking on this drop-down and that button, or that is the large convenient icon that you can press on. Now, we click that first before clicking a surface, and once we've clicked a surface, we can draw on it, and then we can cut things away. But I've not looked at this design in a few days, and I just want to refamiliarize myself with the dimensions. This is something you'll probably also find yourself doing, and the inspect tool is useful for that because you can just click inspect, you can click on an edge, and here it will tell you the size, which is 60 millimeters. Now, if we look on Streamlined, you can see here, if I just preview it so it looks the same as when you do, the car body must be no larger than 150 by 80, and mine is currently 60 wide. And then again, if I click inspect and click on the length, you can see it's 130. So I've got plenty of room. Now, that means that's just quite useful because it means that my car is smaller than it should be. I know that. So now I'm going to click Create Sketch. I'm going to click on this top surface and I can start modifying it, which is great because under the Sketch tools, I've got loads of different options. And one thing I'm going to look at doing for the start point is drawing an arc. And I'm going to draw it from one corner to somewhere towards the front and just have this curved shape here. All right. However, what I want to do is I'm going to draw with this line tool um, a, a line of symmetry, a mirror line. And it doesn't have to be particularly long, but I've drawn a line in the middle. And I knew it was the middle by selecting the line and just moving my mouse up and down the line until it snapped into place. And when it snapped into place, so I knew that was the middle. So now what I'm going to do is click Sketch, Mirror, and this brings this toolbar up here. Now the object I'm going to select is that. In the mirror line, I press select there, and I'm going to choose the mirror line, which is the line of symmetry. And I'm pressing enter on my keyboard to lock that in place. So what I've effectively done there is I've drawn two lines, and that helps me because if I press extrude, I can select this surface and drag the arrow down and press enter, and what it's done is cut that away. That's still pretty ugly. It's not super aerodynamic, but it's an improvement. Okay. At any point, you can come back in this timeline at the bottom. So in previous lessons, we've looked at every time you do something, it records it in this timeline. So the last thing I did was that cut, which will be this icon here. So I could double click on it and I could adjust the cut. So maybe I don't want to go all the way down. Maybe I only want to go halfway down. I can use the arrow to push and pull it. I press enter to finish it off. So you can see that would allow us even to come onto the sketch, and we could perhaps click on the sketch and start changing this and press stop sketch, and it would update everything afterwards. Right, the next thing that I'm going to do then is exactly the same. I'm going to create a sketch, but now I need to choose, well, where am I going to draw it? And at the moment, I do want to draw it on this horizontal plane at the back, but I can't click on it. So I need to click on free orbit, and then I can spin everything around. All right. So now I'm orbiting. I need my mouse back, so I have to press escape so I get my mouse, but it will allow me to select this yellow work surface, this plane. So I'm going to click on that, and that's navigated me into a 2D view. So in this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click on Sketch. I'm going to come up onto Arc, and I'm going to click once to start my arc, once to finish the arc, and once to just determine the curvature. I'm going to do the same at the back. I'm going to click once, twice, and again. What I've realised here is actually I've got my air hole, so let's see if I can move this up just somewhere a bit more convenient above the air hole, and it looks a bit more like a cartoon. So I press stop sketch because I'm finished. And again, same principle, but I press modify, but for some reason, or extrude, they both do the same thing at this point, I can't select it. I can't select the area that I want to cut. Now that's because I don't have a shape that creates an outline. So remember, we can always go back by double clicking in the timeline at the bottom. I'm just going to press escape to get rid of that previous menu and double click on my sketch. That takes me back into the 2D view. What I have here is I have a curve, but I need to add some lines like this to create a closed shape. Can you see how it just turned yellow? That yellow shape is really important because now when I press stop sketch, I can press extrude like I did before and select both those yellow shapes, but this time I can cut. So you can see that this is turning more and more like a car. It's still not fantastic, but the process is creating a sketch, clicking where you want to do a drawing, doing a drawing, and then cutting away some of the body with the extrude tool. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't going to be easy at the beginning, but you need to practice. The only way of developing your skill with the software is just experimenting with it. But the process is create a sketch, click on a surface, do a drawing, and then you can do something with that drawing. Now, before I wrap this video up, just one last feature that's pretty cool is the fillet tool. It's under modify. You can click fillet, and what that allows you to do is start rounding things out. So I'm going to click that edge, and I'm going to use the arrow to start creating a round surface. Like that. I press enter once I'm finished. So modify, fillet, click the edge that you want to round. You can push and pull to start rounding things off. Now, bit by bit, you can really transform the appearance of your car. And again, it takes practice. You're not going to get this straight away. Let's just rotate this with the orbit tool and make sure I've got all of the edges. I have, so I'm going to push and pull. You can see that slowly, we're modifying this car into something that's just a bit more stylish and potentially functional too. But it's all just about practice at this stage. So I'm going to end this video here because really what I'd like you to spend the lesson doing is experimenting, and the best tools for experimenting, create sketch, so this button, then click on a surface, then do a drawing, and then use the extrude to cut through. And slowly you've got your block, which I had at the beginning, and so I can maybe go back in the timeline to show you that by dragging this line. That's what we started with, and bit by bit, that's what we ended with, which again isn't a finished product, but it's far more stylish, far more interesting, and a bit lighter than the big block. It should pass through the air a bit more aerodynamic. It should be a bit more aerodynamic when passing through the air too. We do, if we look at the image up here, we do still need to add some wheels on. I would strongly recommend making it smaller, lighter, because the lighter it is, the faster it will go. But in this lesson, I'd just like you to experiment with modifying the shape, making it more stylish, seeing how you can customize your car so it's a much more interesting, so it has a much more interesting body. Have fun experimenting. Don't panic if things go wrong. Save your work regularly. You can do that, remember, by clicking File Save or File Save As and giving it a new file name. The good thing about Fusion is we can always go back in time to fix things. So it's not going to get to the point where you lose everything. I'll always be able to help you go back and make improvements and repair your work. So just be experimental, give things a shot. All right? Help each other before you get in touch with me. But if you're really stuck, send me an email or come and find me and I'll do my best to help you. All right? Have fun and just be creative. Just see what you can produce.